The Game Loop Recap, Xbox News and PlayStation Battles.
Hey everyone, buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into a mountain of gaming news this week. We're talking surprise releases, industry shakeups, and even whispers about the future of gaming. Get ready, it's going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready to dive in. Let's do it.
First off, let's talk about the elephant-sized electrode in the room. Game Freak, the company behind our beloved Pokemon, got hacked. And not just a little peek behind the curtain. We're talking leaked details about upcoming games, employee info, even the code name for Nintendo's next console, Ounce. What do you make of this bombshell?
Well, this leak, it really throws a wrench into Nintendo's usually tight-lipped approach.
Yeah.
Revealing code names this early is unheard of. They usually drop these secrets strategically, much closer to a big reveal. This forces their hand. It might completely change how they plan to launch the Switch, too. It'll be fascinating to see how they adapt.
Right. The suspense is killing me. Speaking of unexpected twists, Activision's been battling their own PR nightmare. Remember their new anti-cheat system for Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone? Turns out a workaround ended up flagging innocent players.
Ouch, talk about a system malfunction. It's a classic example of the tightrope game developers have to play stopping cheaters while making sure everyone else has a fair and fun experience.
It's a tough balance to strike.
It is. This latest hiccup raises some big questions. As cheaters get more cunning, how can anti-cheat tech evolve to keep pace without punishing honest players? There's got to be a way to strike that balance.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about tricky situations, let's move from the online battlefield to the TV screen. Amazon's God of War series is getting a total reboot, new writers, new direction, basically hitting the reset button. Seems like they've tossed out the original plan to follow Kratos' Norse adventures.
Yeah, this could be huge for Sony's whole strategy when it comes to adapting their games. Are they shifting gears, moving away from straight-up game adaptations to stories that add something new to the universe? It's a gamble, especially considering how well other video game adaptations like The Last of Us have done recently. But hey, maybe this signals a new era of creativity for Sony.
I'm all for a little creative risk-taking. But before we get too lost in speculation, let's talk about some music to our gamer ears. PlayStation is launching a global concert tour, and get this, it features iconic soundtracks from games like God of War, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and Horizon.
Wow, this is more than just a concert series. It's a cultural moment. It shows how video game music has earned its place as a powerful art form, standing shoulder to shoulder with traditional orchestral scores. This isn't just for gamers. It's a chance for everyone to experience the raw emotion these soundtracks deliver.
Talk about an epic listening experience, but let's not forget about the little guys, the indie developers who always seem to surprise us. Take the team behind the indie gem Gone Home, for example. They just dropped a new game out of nowhere called, wait for it, Toilet Spiders.
The title alone deserves an award for creativity. This surprise release speaks volumes about the beauty of independent game development. These devs have the freedom to take risks, to let their imaginations run wild, and sometimes that leads to unexpected masterpieces, even if they're crawling out of the toilet.
And speaking of risks, Bohemia Interactive is making a big one, announcing a 2027 release date for Arma 4. Now that's what I call long-term planning. Imagine the tech we might have by then.
This announcement is a fascinating peek into Bohemia Interactive's strategy. It screams confidence in the Arma franchise, but it also begs the question, what will the gaming landscape even look like in 2027? It's a bold move to announce a date so far out, especially with technology evolving faster than ever.
My head's spinning just thinking about it. But while we're on the subject of the future, let's rewind the clock a bit and celebrate a gaming legend, Tetris.
Ah, Tetris, a game so simple, yet so brilliantly addictive.
Exactly. And to mark its 40th anniversary, Atari 50 Studio is releasing Tetris Forever, an interactive documentary that chronicles the game's incredible journey.
It's incredible how Tetris, with its simple mechanics, has captivated generations. It's a testament to the power of elegant game design, a true classic. I, for one, can't wait to see what insights the documentary uncovers. Is Tetris what's not to love?
You said it. And it seems like Bungie's hoping to bottle that Tetris magic, but this time on mobile. They've just announced Destiny. Rising, a free-to-play mobile shooter set in a brand new Destiny timeline. Think it'll live up to the hype.
This is a major move for Bungie, showing their commitment to expanding the Destiny universe beyond traditional platforms. The question is, how will this mobile game weave into the larger Destiny story? And can it capture a mobile audience that might not be familiar with the franchise? The free-to-play model certainly broadens their reach.
Good point. It's a whole different ball game in the mobile market. But let's shift gears back to the world of consoles and PCs. Microsoft just wrapped up its Xbox partner preview, showcasing a treasure trove of upcoming games.
They really ran the gamut, didn't they? From the spine-chilling Alan Wake 2 DLC to the swashbuckling, like a dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, there's something for everyone.
Don't forget Remedy's first foray into multiplayer with FBC, Firebreak.
Oh, right. This partner preview really drove home Microsoft's strategy to diversify its game lineup, appealing to a broader range of players. It's an exciting time to be an Xbox and PC gamer, especially with Game Pass offering such a massive library of games.
Speaking of exciting, did you hear that, like a dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii's release date got bumped up? They're saying development is ahead of schedule.
That is good news for fans, though I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to avoid the holiday rush.
Right. It is getting crowded out there. And speaking of crowded, it seems Sony's throwing their hat into the ring with a new console after all the PlayStation 5 Pro. Word on the street is that it'll be hitting shelves this November.
It's a bold strategy, considering the ongoing debate about the sustainability of constantly pushing for more powerful hardware. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Especially since former PlayStation exec Sean Layden just called for a hard reset on the industry's current business model. He even went so far as to suggest that the relentless pursuit of teraflops might be reaching its limit.
His argument has merit, for sure. The costs of game development are skyrocketing, and the price of new consoles keeps climbing. Layden suggesting a shift in focus from specs to the heart of what makes games great: the content.
And he's not just talking the talk. Layden's been very vocal about what he sees as a collapse of creativity in the industry.
He's got a point. The pressure to churn out blockbuster hits can stifle innovation and make studios risk-averse. Layden believes those mid-budget, or AA games, are crucial for fostering new ideas and pushing the boundaries of game design. They're the testing ground for the future of gaming.
For those who might not know, LEA games are those amazing titles that fall somewhere between indie games and those massive AAA blockbusters.
Exactly. They're often where you find the most unique and innovative gameplay. Unfortunately, the term AA has become almost extinct in the industry, which is a shame because, as Layden points out, the disappearance of LA studios is a threat to the ecosystem of the gaming world.
He's not anti-technology, though. In fact, he sees the positive impact of advancements in game development tools.
Absolutely. These tools have empowered smaller teams to create high-quality games, which is fantastic. But, as Layden emphasizes, technology alone isn't enough. For him, a truly great game lies in its core concept and its ability to resonate with players. He wants to see passion and creativity shine through, regardless of budget or fancy graphics.
That's a refreshing perspective. So knowing that, what do you make of Sony's decision to release a more powerful PS5? It seems a bit at odds with this whole conversation about pushing back against hardware escalation.
It does make you wonder. Sony's clearly betting there's still a market hungry for the latest and greatest technology, even with a hefty price tag. The PS5 Pro hinges on its ability to enhance games with things like ray tracing, which demands a lot of power, but is it necessary?
Is chasing these incremental improvements really what most gamers are after?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Layden actually joked that we've reached a point where only dogs can hear the difference between these hardware generations. He believes the average player won't notice those subtle visual upgrades.
Especially when you think about how many people still game on older hardware or don't have top-of-the-line TVs. It makes you wonder who this new console is really for.
It's a niche market, that's for sure. And with a high price tag, the PS5 Pro might be a tough sell, especially as we head into a potential recession.
It feels like the industry's at a crossroads. On one side, you've got this constant drive for bigger and better consoles. On the other, there's this growing awareness of the need for sustainability, creativity, and a wider variety of gaming experiences.
Exactly. It'll be fascinating to see how these forces shape the future of gaming.
Well, while we're pondering the future of consoles, there's another interesting development brewing in the legal world. Remember Daytel, the company behind those action replay cheat devices?
Ah, yes, the cheat codes that launched 1,000 arguments between siblings.
You know it. Well, it seems Sony's been trying to pull the plug on them for ages, claiming Daytel's cheat software violates PlayStation's copyright.
Right. That's been a long and winding legal battle. What's the latest?
Get this. Sony lost. The European Court of Justice sided with Daytel, ruling that their cheat software doesn't actually change the game's code. It just tweaks some variables while you're playing.
That's a fascinating distinction. So essentially, the court's saying Players have the right to mess around with parts of their gameplay without stepping on copyright toes. Where does that leave things?
That's the million-dollar question. The judges even made a clever comparison, saying it's like skipping to the end of a mystery novel. Sure, it spoils the ending, but it doesn't mean you're ripping off the author.
Interesting. This could set a precedent for the modding community and how much players are allowed to alter their gaming experience.
It really blurs the lines, doesn't it? This whole debate about creativity and risk-taking in the industry, especially after that diverse lineup at Microsoft's Xbox Partner Preview event, got me thinking. They had everything from indie gems like Animal Well to big hitters like Alan Wake 2 and Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah, Microsoft seems to be positioning Xbox as a one-stop shop for every type of gamer. And let's not forget about Game Pass. That subscription service gives players access to a library of titles for a monthly fee, like a Netflix for games.
It's revolutionized how some people play, that's for sure. But what do you think this subscription model means for creativity? Does it help or hinder the developers?
That's the big question, isn't it? There are strong arguments on both sides. On the one hand, Game Pass lowers the bar for entry for players, letting them try a ton of games without breaking the bank. That's a huge win for those smaller experimental games that might get lost in the shuffle.
So it levels the playing field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for developers, Game Pass is a guaranteed paycheck and a chance to get their game in front of a massive audience. It can take some of the pressure off needing to score a mega hit right out of the gate.
But there has to be a downside. I've heard some developers worry that this model devalues games and makes it tough to justify those big budgets needed for riskier projects.
That's a valid concern. If your game's just one of hundreds in a subscription service, it's harder for it to stand out and demand the same attention as a standalone release. And if players are paying one price for a ton of games, are developers tempted to make shorter, less complex games that can be finished quickly?
It's a double-edged sword. Helping smaller devs and encouraging unique ideas, but also potentially fueling a race to the bottom when it comes to price and content.
You hit the nail on the head. It's all about finding that balance, and it's still early days. The long-term impact of the subscription model is still unfolding, but one thing's for sure, it's shaking things up and making everyone rethink how games are made and sold.
Talk about shaking things up. Have you heard about Universal's Epic Universe theme park? The Super Nintendo World section is set to open in May 2025.
I did see that. The ones in Japan and Hollywood have been a smash hit. I wonder how they'll top those.
Rumor has it that Orlando's version will feature the long-awaited Donkey Kong Minecart Madness roller coaster. Remember that one?
Oh, right. That was supposed to open in Japan this year, but got pushed back. A Donkey Kong-themed area would be amazing.
And the rumors don't stop there. People are buzzing about potential Pokemon and Zelda-themed areas.
Now that would be something else. Imagine wandering through Hyrule Castle or facing off against Team Rocket in real life.
Right. It'd be a dream come true for a lot of gamers. It's clear Universal's going all in on these immersive theme park experiences. They're more than just rides. They're stepping into fully realized worlds, blurring the lines between fantasy and reality.
It speaks volumes about the lasting impact of these video game franchises. These characters, stories, and worlds resonate with people so strongly that they can seamlessly jump from the screen to real life. Maybe it'll even inspire a whole new generation of game developers.
I love that. It's a beautiful cycle of creativity and inspiration. Speaking of inspiration, there's one announcement that has me particularly hyped for the future of PC gaming. Remember earlier when we were talking about Sony dipping their toes into the PC market? Well, get this. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is swinging its way onto PC in January 2025.
Wow, another iconic PlayStation title making the leap to PC. It's a smart move by Sony. Why limit yourself to one platform when you can tap into a whole new world of players?
Exactly. And it gives those who haven't jumped on the PlayStation 5 bandwagon a chance to experience these incredible games. Plus, let's be real, who doesn't love the crispness of enhanced graphics and the precision of a keyboard and mouse?
It's a testament to the power of PC gaming, that's for sure. And for Sony, it's a chance to rake in even more revenue from games that have already proven themselves on console.
It's a win-win all around. But it does make you wonder, what does this mean for the future of console exclusives? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end?
The million-dollar question. Console exclusives have always been a huge selling point, a way for PlayStation and Xbox to differentiate themselves and cultivate brand loyalty.
But things are changing, aren't they? Cross-platform play and even cross-platform progression are becoming more common. It's blurring the lines.
Absolutely. The walls between platforms are crumbling as the industry evolves. For gamers, it means more freedom and choice in how and where they play. And for developers, it's a whole new world of opportunities and challenges in reaching their audience.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Will we reach a point where console exclusives become relics of the past, or will they always have a place in the gaming ecosystem?
Only time will tell. But one thing's certain, the world of gaming thrives on change. It's constantly evolving, shaped by technology, player demand, and the boundless creativity of developers.
And that's what keeps it exciting. There's always something new on the horizon, something to ignite our imaginations and spark those passionate debates with our online friends.
Couldn't agree more. It's that constant evolution that makes gaming such a captivating form of entertainment.
Well said. And on that note, it's time for us to power down for today. But before we go, I want to leave you with one last thought to ponder. Do you think this trend of console exclusives migrating to PC is ultimately a good or bad thing for the future of gaming?
It's a question worth chewing on. We'd love to hear your take on it. Head over to our social media channels and keep the conversation going.
Until next time, game on!